Yo, Michael Saylor just made a bombshell Bitcoin price prediction here at the Bitcoin 2025 conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, which just wrapped up yesterday. Today, we're going to be running through the numbers to prove why this prediction implies a $23 million Bitcoin. Absolutely crazy. But before you call us crazy, let's check out the clip. And then, of course, me and Opti will talk about it.
Discovered in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. And then they went on to build Yo-Yo Coin. And then they went on to build the thing to juggle the Bitcoin. And then they went on to write the book about how smart they are about having discovered the Bitcoin. And then they created the business and they got a board of directors that made them sell the Bitcoin. Right? So commitment to the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is the idea. Don't feed the trolls. When people cack at you online and tell you you're stupid, don't argue with them. Don't chase, by the way, don't get distracted by your good ideas. Don't chase your good ideas. Satoshi gave you an idea worth half of everything on earth. The most common mistake entrepreneurs make is they fall in love with their own idea and then they chase it. You have the world's greatest idea, the greatest idea in the history of the human race. It's there. You're living during an age where the majority of the planet doesn't get it. All you have to do is figure out how to capitalize it right now. But there will be a million other ideas. Don't fight lost causes. Choose your battles. Don't try to fix stuff, beyond your reach. You might have an opinion about this and that and the other thing, and it might make you really mad, and you might be burning about it, and you might think, this is just awful. All that is true. I agree with you. But the truth is, the world probably doesn't care what you think. And unless you can stop the war yourself, and if you can stop the war, you know you can do that, then you should focus on that. But if you can't, then don't take your own success for granted,
Dude, so wait, hold on. That was incredible. So much to unpack there. So I think Michael Saylor, what was really interesting to me in there is, again, it's, don't get distracted, right? And I think that's something that a lot of us perhaps feel, a little bit guilty of, right? There's a lot of injustices in the world. Um, but essentially what he is focusing on, he's like, look, focus on yourself. Bitcoin is, this amazing idea that has tremendous amount of potential. Don't distract yourself from the signal. And the signal, of course, is trying to buy Bitcoin. Now, he buried something there, which is why we put it in the thumbnail, the 23 million. He emphasized that Bitcoin is going to be worth half of the world's wealth. That's 500 trillion. I don't know if you guys caught that, right? He said Bitcoin's going to be worth half the world's wealth. That is significantly higher than his prediction from last year, which, it's kind of difficult to one up a $13 million price prediction. Like eventually it starts to get a little bit crazy. So he totally just one upped it though. Now he didn't offer a timeline. He didn't offer, this is going to happen by this date like he did last year, but he did imply it. And so far with Saylor, whether you agree with him, you disagree with him, there's some things that I didn't like the answer that he gave to Mitchell Hoddle earlier on this week, where Mitchell was basically saying, hey, do you plan to, make your Bitcoin reserves public? And he said, basically said, no, that's a stupid idea. And again, it's above my pay grade, but he basically said, no, I think it's irresponsible. Simultaneously, you have countries doing that. You have Tether doing that. Another Bitcoin treasury company just announced, I think a couple days ago, that they have the intention of making their reserves public. So it can be done, right? I didn't like that. But put that aside, I think Saylor has done so much good for the space just in raising awareness towards Bitcoin, right? So we might not all agree with him, but the reason I'm saying all of that is because I think Saylor has been more right then he has been wrong since 2020. I mean, he's absolutely crushed it. His company has crushed it. And he wouldn't be able to do that unless he was over the target. Right. And that's the reality of the situation. So he did just imply Bitcoin's market cap is going to hit $500 trillion. I think at $500 trillion, I think that's roughly 23 million or $25 million Bitcoin. Right. So connect the dots with that, right? This is what he means by don't get distracted. And you see this, like, one of the things that frustrates me the most is when I see a lot of people, like, you're at a protest and you see people with like picket signs and they're like, like this is injustice and all this stuff. Like, that doesn't do anything. Fundamentally, the people in power are the ones that are going to be making the decisions. You could put pressure on them, but they could still choose to ignore you, or worse, put you in a box, right? So what he's saying is like, look, focus on this one in a generational opportunity that's right in your face, which is Bitcoin. If you're able to get to one Bitcoin, I mean, it's 104,000, but if you're able to get to one, he's implying that you're going to have a $25 million, in the next 20 to 30 years. The top 1% in the United States, their net worth is 13 million. So this is what he means. Like, don't squander that opportunity and capitalize on it, get on it, and it could change your life. It's changed my life. It's changed, Opti's life. It's changed my company's life. Bitcoin changes lives for the better. That's what it does. Bitcoin is beautiful like that. Bitcoin is awesome. And you don't want to squander that opportunity. But it's crazy, man, because I remember saying this to you, Opti, like when we were talking last year. I said when he dropped that $13 million price prediction, he made that his keynote. I was like, holy shit, bro. Like, how is he going to one up that next year? Because you have to one up your presentation from the year before. Like, you can't go down, because then like less people want to see your talk or this and this and that. And the Bitcoin conference, I think they did that extremely well, right? Last year they had a presidential candidate. This year they had the vice president. Maybe next year they have the president. That'd be epic. But they had Ross. Ross closed out the conference. I didn't see the whole speech in person, but I wanted to see the first 20, 30 seconds of it, because that speech, to me personally, as an individual, as a Bitcoiner, he referenced the first speech that he made at a Bitcoin conference. And it was the Bitcoin conference in 2021. And I never forget that speech, because for me it was very special. Right after his speech was the first time I spoke at a Bitcoin conference. And our boy Nick Can't Mine, he was able to put this panel together because someone canceled last minute. And it was Alex Svetsky, Nick Can't Mine, and myself, and that other Bitcoin Zoomer. He's not around these days as much anymore. But yeah, exactly. BTC Lurk. And I never forget that speech because we were on right after. So I was so nervous. I've never done public speaking at that point. And they played that clip of Ross, and I was getting chills. And Ross's mom was backstage, Lynn. And I was like, holy cow, this is why we're here. This is why we're fighting. And to see that come full circle from 2021 to 2025, but he's in there in the flesh, is a testament to the power of our movement. And it's an indication that we're winning. We had the vice president of the United States speak at a Bitcoin conference. That is absolutely freaking incredible. Now, to kind of weave it back in, to tie it back into what Michael Saylor was saying, don't squander this opportunity. Stay humble, stack sats, have a low time preference. We are in Vegas, the city of high time preference. And go about your life. and watch and see how Bitcoin will improve your life for the better because you're saving in money that can't be debased, that won't be debased. Actually, it will increase in purchasing power over time, therefore making everything around you get cheaper and you having the perception that you're getting wealthier. So yeah, man. What a week. Shout out to, of course, the Rumble team for allowing us to stream 3 days at the Rumble booth, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For anyone who just didn't see us on YouTube, we were still streaming on. We were uploading the podcast. We were uploading on Rumble, um, but we weren't uploading on YouTube for those last 3 days. But all those episodes are there. We didn't miss a beat. So we'll be back in Miami. Opti and I are going to be doing the show in person moving forward for the rest of time until we ride into the sunset, Butch Cassidy type stuff. So we're really excited about that, and we also have some exciting news for you guys in the coming months. So yeah, man, what a crazy week and some very, very bullish news by Michael Saylor. What's your take, Opti?
Yeah, well, first off, literally we were working the whole time, so I didn't catch any speech on the main stage, but we were right by the main stage. Like if you walked out, we were at the press lounge, we were right there. And the one thing I do remember about the Saylor speech, this was the keynote. I believe it was called 21 Rules for Success. So if you're looking, I'm sure the BMAG team will chop it up so you can catch the whole thing. But it was very interesting to see the response for when Saylor came up. And he literally came up, Nico, and it sounded like there was like a rock star walking on stage. He had a standing ovation. He basically had to chill there for like a couple of minutes until everyone calmed down, just because that's how excited the whole audience was and how loud it was. And we were right there, so you just hear it booming. And at first you're like, who the hell's going on stage? And then you can kind of peek through and it's like, oh, it's Saylor. And it's like, it's actually incredible how many fans, or rather maybe acolytes, that Michael Saylor has. And a lot of the conversations we were having with people while we were doing interviews that you guys will get on our channel is from people basically saying that it took Michael Saylor for them to really understand what Bitcoin is, what it can do for their company, and the impact I think that Saylor has had. I don't think we can downplay it. Yes, I know he's not perfect. There's things you can criticize. There's things you may not like that he's done or is doing or saying. But the impact of Michael Saylor, I don't think can be understated. And I've jokingly said this on the show all the time. He's probably going to be the richest man ever, like to ever live on planet Earth. You know, we have Musk right now. Well, on paper, we have Musk as the richest man on Earth. But I think Saylor eventually will pass that. Anyway, talking about that clip here, we've talked about it, and I'm on a hotspot, Nico, so maybe you want to check the chart from Croesus and we can pull it up and show people what is going on. And of course, what we're referencing here is basically the total assets of the world, whether that's real estate, bond markets, currency, gold, art, etc. That is now currently at $1,000 trillion. I think, is that the new one? There's a video he did. I think that one's the old one. That's the old one, but it's close enough. It's close enough. You get the picture. So Croesus updated this, and everyone for basically the last year, we've been referencing the total global asset value at 900 trillion. Well, Croesus updated it, and we are at 1,000 trillion, which I believe is 1 quadrillion. Someone fact check me on this. Big numbers, hard. But if you break that down, there's two ways you can think about what Saylor said here. Hold on. Sorry, guys. It's dry out here. There's two ways that I will interpret what Saylor said here. One is, of course, just the basic math of $1,000 trillion divided by half, half of everything in the world. Of course, $500 trillion. That would mean Bitcoin is going to a $500 trillion market cap. That is 23 something million dollars. Of course, we don't have a time frame, but you could suspect he's probably thinking, I don't know, 20, 30 years down the line here, which, hey, for most of us young people, I think we'll be okay with that. I think we'll be okay with our stacks if we get to those numbers. Maybe this is in our grandchildren's lifetime.
I mean, that's why he was making that case during that episode where he was basically saying, like, or during that keynote, like, guys, like, focus, right? Like, don't get distracted. one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is they get married to the idea. And you have to realize, like, right now, like, there's this amazing opportunity with Bitcoin for you to buy Bitcoin, and don't miss on that opportunity. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't go to work or you shouldn't try to start a business? No, that's not what it means at all. What it does mean, though, is that keep in mind that, like, if you're going to go all in on a business, right? Like, before Bitcoin, you know, go for it. But after Bitcoin, keep in mind that, if you're one of those privileged people that have $100,000 lying around, very few people, right? Or 10 grand lying around. Just keep in mind that in 20 years, 10, 20 years, we're talking about $1 million, $20 million Bitcoin, right? And that's what he's talking about, right? So yeah, man. And look, and I'll say this too, guys. Like, I think Bitcoin is mainstream at this point. Um, this is no longer this like cypherpunk, and we're going to talk about this during the news, by the way. It's no longer this like underground cypherpunk movement. Um, you have governments embracing it. You had a keynote by someone representing the government of Pakistan, basically saying Pakistan is going to launch a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So it's starting to snowball. You have public companies that have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I was talking to someone who's extremely intelligent, worked in the industry. Oh, it was the CEO of Strive. And he said, I believe in the next 5 years, um, eh, eh, basically every company is going to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Or sorry, half of every company is going to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? So it's going to be crazy. We're going to be dropping interviews all week. All the next 2 weeks, really. I interviewed Peter Schiff. That was funny. He actually made some pretty good points. I'll show you guys the videos and we'll talk about it. I disagree with him. He's obviously still like doubling down on like the whole gold thing. I said Bitcoin's better, obviously, but he did make some good points. I interviewed Scottie Pippen, which was
that was crazy.
That was like, I could never have imagined that. And he just walked by our booth, right? Totally unplanned. So yeah, it was a great conference overall. I don't think Opti and I have worked this hard ever. Just nonstop.
All right, let's talk about that in the culture. We'll talk about the culture. But Nico, the second point that I wanted to make is, if you take what Saylor said, but you put it more in like an Austrian economic sense, it's the idea that, cash is one half of every transaction in the world, or money rather, is one half of every transaction in the world. And so I think Saylor is essentially saying what we've all been saying for a long time. And further along, or actually, it might have been a different speech or presentation that he did, and someone put it on Twitter, and I don't know why it clicked me or hit me in this way, but I've been kind of alluding to this on the show for a while, that the way that Saylor communicates, he's not necessarily talking to the everyday average person. What he's doing is he's projecting the Bitcoin message in such a way that the CEOs of Strive or Larry Fink or Donald Trump, etc., the president, or I forget, prime minister, I'm not sure what the leader, or I think I'm going to call him president of Pakistan, was saying about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The way he framed his Saylor's memetics is not for the everyday average person. It's what he's been saying recently, that he is here to save the credit markets. Of course, he came in at first full Bitcoin memes. I'm here to fix the money. And now he's kind of iterated and said, I'm here to fix the credit markets, the capital markets. And I think when you read it in these terms, a lot of the stuff he's doing, I don't want to be like a Saylor 5D chess guy, but he's speaking and communicating in a certain way so that the high net worth, the very high IQ people in the room, or rather on planet Earth, can fully understand what we're saying. He's speaking in their words. And this is something that I've been saying forever on this show. If you want to catch a fish, you got to bait the hook for the fish you're trying to catch. And this is what he's doing. So again, we can't understate what Saylor's done. Yes, he's kind of been in hot water the last week. All the plebs out there, all the toxic Bitcoin maximalists are like, what, bro? What do you mean? I know even Nico was like, I don't know about this take here. And I'm like, look, I can't even pretend to understand what he's saying, but from my gut feeling and from the examples we have, you know, proof of reserve seems pretty simple to me, and everyone's freaking out. But again, I think this is just kind of an indicator of where we are in the markets right now. Where Bitcoiners, we're so good at arguing with each other about stuff that really is pointless.
I mean, like, bro, but like,
It's because the price is going sideways and it's not pumping, Nico.
The thing is, like, so another very well-known Bitcoin treasury company, their CEO, one of the top 3, right? Their CEO went on public and said, we're going to make our reserves public, right? So this is the beauty of market forces. Obviously, he knows that Bitcoiners didn't react well to what Saylor was saying. So, you know, again, like, what's he going to say there, right? Like, I'm telling you guys, like, look, I like
42 million.
I'm just looking at it from like a first principles perspective, like just basics. Like, I get it, security, this and that, but like, if Tether is like Paolo's just copy pasting the Tether address, like responding to someone, and it literally goes to an address that has 92,000 coins. Like, I mean, like, we all know, like, the Binance address is public, like the Gemini address is public, like those are all public addresses, right? The Coinbase address is public. Like, this is the beauty of Bitcoin. Like, again, Saylor has much more experience than me in public markets and public companies. And again, this might be above my pay grade, but like, just from a purely first principles, kind of like common sense, maybe type of perspective, I'm just kind of like, you know, that's interesting. Anyway,
well, one last thing, Nico.
It is Friday, so
Yeah.
we have to give the people what they want.
Oh, he's got a meme.
And
it's hardly a meme. This is more chart boy, but okay.
let's check out some Hopium before we move on to the next segment. I also do want to give a shout out. Thank you for the super chat, Mexica Hodl. 10 go free. How less in my cool low. Thank you, bro. Appreciate the $10, dude. Thank you so much.
Was that a seed phrase? What's going on there?
I have no idea. Anyways, also almost 2,000 live viewers. If you guys are enjoying us on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button. I think we're at 100 likes or so. Help us break 150 likes by the time we reach the 30-minute mark. And of course, shout out to the Rumble audience as well. 87 live viewers on Rumble. And of course, X, like always, is popping off. Anyways, so let's check this out. The next one, like, it doesn't go this way. Reading the chats. By the way, the Rumble chats are crazy. Nico is low energy. What happened to Nico? This is hilarious. No, look, the Rumble shows Nico past the Overton window, out the Overton door, and down the Overton road. This is hilarious. Who is this? Where is Nico Kaiser? This is Nico's stablecoin.
Yeah, calling Nico Kaiser on the Rumble stream was hilarious. That was good.
This is hilarious. Well, look, so on the floor of the conference, me and Opti didn't have headphones, so like we literally were yelling at each other. And then when you yell, I guess you get more motivated. Anyways, so let's talk about this. Look, I don't like charts, but there seems to be some type of correlation between global M2 and BTC. And it seems like it's been following it for quite a while now. And there is a little bit of a lag. So global M2 goes higher, and then BTC kind of follows it a little bit later. And it seems like it's been doing just that, right? So, you know, if it keeps going in that direction, you know, you guys could see it for the audio listeners. You know, we might see roughly 200K by the end of the year.
In 90 days.
In 90 days? Yeah.
It says here, global M2 money supply offset by 87 days. So if this follows through, 90 days, 200K. Now that's some real clickbait scamming for you guys.
There seems to be a correlation. Now, one of the things, too, that I want to point out as well is, which is quite interesting, is wow, I totally just blanked, man. I had something really interesting to say.
Now we know you're lying.
No, I had something. I had something really interesting to say. Oh yes, okay, now I remember. The bonds, right? The U.S. government right now. We read you guys a Yahoo Finance article that essentially the U.S. government they've been struggling to to essentially sell their bonds, and the Fed has been quietly buying those bonds. So like I'll translate that means money printing, right? Because how are they going to buy the bonds without printing money, right? What are they going to buy the bonds with, right? So yeah, I mean that Bitcoin looks good. I know it's a little bit slow. I know the volatility's decreased a little bit, but Michael Saylor said it best: lower your time preference, and I think up to Valhalla, like our boy Rustin always says. We just broke 101 likes and on the verge of breaking 500 live viewers on YouTube. Smash that like button, guys. We have a jam-packed show for you guys. We're going to cover multiple things. We have a clip from Luke Rodkowski. I hope,
yeah, Luke Rodkowski. Yeah,
hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I saw someone talking about the Overton window. We're going to be talking about that during the numbers segment. Then during the news segment, we're going to be talking about something interesting, which is like this is what I was saying in the beginning of the show. Like Bitcoin isn't really counterculture. Like this is mainstream. You have politicians, you have corporations speaking at Bitcoin conferences. This is not what it was 5 years ago. Clearly, it's changed. I think David Bailey said it best. This is like what happens when your favorite band goes mainstream. Now, does that mean that it's less exciting? No, I think it's more important than ever to just keep in mind, like, not your keys, not your cheese, right? So, anyways, guys, before we start the show, I do, of course, want to give a extremely special shout out to Simply Bitcoin's lead sponsor, the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. To get started, scan the QR code on your screen or go to bitcoinwell.com/simply. And what makes BitcoinWell unique, what makes it special, is that it's an automatic self-custody Bitcoin on-ramp. What does that mean? That means that when you buy Bitcoin on BitcoinWell, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address, which again allows you to reclaim your financial sovereignty. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/simply and you get 3 tosses into the Bitcoin Wishing Well. The Bitcoin Wishing Well is this awesome little contest where you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million sats every time you play. You could also use the points to multiple things like a Simply Bitcoin hoodie, an orange Cybertruck, a Well stamp seed plate. But we're going to toss a coin into the Wishing Well live for you guys right now. Bom, bing, bom, boom. Get your Lightning wallets ready. First person to scan it has won 434 sats. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/simply today. And again, when you make your first purchase, you get 3 tosses into the Wishing Well every single time you win. And every single time you have an opportunity to win 1 million sats. We'll be back in just a sec. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today. All right, everybody, we are back. Guys, go to stampseed.com. We just broke 2,000 live viewers on the live stream. Smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the show. Scan the QR code on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. It'll take you directly to the stampseed.com website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the website. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $104,100. Definitely having a little bit of a dip after the Bitcoin conference. Not surprising whatsoever, but compared to previous years, this ain't so bad. We're still above 100K. Block height, 899,091. Sats per dollar, 961. Market cap, 2.07 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 8.95%. Percentage issued, 94.62%. Decline from all-time high, -7%. Realized monetary inflation, 0.85%. The grand scheme of things, we are just getting started. Anyways, there's so much amazing panels, so much amazing content at the Bitcoin conference. I'm sure we're going to be covering it over the next week or two. But you guys know, and the Rumble chat was kind of making fun of me a little bit. You guys know that I love talking about the Overton window. The Overton window is, again, the acceptable window of discourse. And just because Bitcoin is on the verge or is in the process of becoming mainstream doesn't mean that our jobs are done yet. Because, again, our goal, what we really want here is to raise awareness to the people, to every single one of you guys about inflation, because I don't think governments can explain that away, right? It's not in the social contract. We agreed to income tax, whether you like it or you dislike it. We agreed to property tax. It's in law, right? But I don't think anyone has agreed to money tax. Like, that wasn't part of the equation. Like, people are not aware of that, right? So you have to pay income tax, you have to pay property tax, and you have to pay money tax. Like, so we have to raise awareness. And again, and what makes it a little bit more sinister as well is, like, everyone knows about income tax. Everyone knows about property tax. The way that politicians discuss inflation, it's like they talk about it like it's like a part of nature. They blame it on everything and everyone but themselves. But fundamentally, the only thing that causes inflation is increasing the money supply. Who was the only one that can increase the money supply? Who's the only one? Right? It's the state. It's the government. Right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But let's raise awareness. Anyways, I'm gonna play you guys this clip and then we'll talk about it.
There's talk in this like crypto Bitcoin space about people being rugged. I'm like, have you heard of what happened after 9/11 with the biggest transfer of wealth in recorded American history, with the Pentagon missing trillions of dollars? People are saying, oh no, but this other crap coin is going to take your money. Have you heard of what happened in 2008? Have you heard of what happened in COVID? I think it's pretty clear that the institutions have been robbing us blind. We have been screwed over, and they are the ones rug pulling all of us. And Bitcoin is the alternative to finally some of us uplifting ourselves from this global Ponzi scheme that all of us are forced to live into by these predators, a part of the banking class that are.
All right, I'm gonna leave it there. All right, so I didn't know that was so hardcore. Wow. So, anyways, lots to unpack there. Why didn't you tell me, Abdi?
I didn't tell you to put that video in. I just put it in the show notes.
Oh man. Okay.
Rip YouTube.
So, I mean, Luke's like, I'm just gonna talk about 2008. I mean, like, he's right, 100%. He's right, 100%. Like, what happened in 2008, man, is like, it was a crime against our generation. It was really, really bad, right? Like, they bailed out the big banks at the expense of Main Street, and my generation hasn't recovered since. I see people basically saying, like, no days off for Simply Bitcoin. Whoa, guys, we haven't taken a day off. We've been streaming every single day, but for 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we were streaming just to Rumble because they were kind enough to let us stream at their booth.
And we were like totally uncensored.
Yeah, we were able to say some things outside of the Overton window. So anyhow, Opti, I do wanna get your take, man, about 2008, about what Luke was saying about 2008. Like, what's your take? What's your opinion on that? Like, because I fundamentally agree with him, man. Like, like we've been robbed. Like we've been robbed. It's been bad, and the fact that level of discourse is happening at the same conference that a vice president is speaking at, I think is a very big deal.
Yeah, well, first of all, I saw a lot of people on Twitter, giving the Bitcoin Mag conference a lot of flack for some of the stuff said and some of the people talking on the main stage. But some of the clips that I saw, like this Luke Rodkowski video, it's like, this is the message. And this is essentially what I try to tell people all the time. But as we always talk about, when you say certain things like this, everyone looks at you like you're some crazy conspiracy theorist. And you're like, no, like this is all facts. This is factual based stuff here. This is exactly what's going on. But most of the people aren't ready for this. And it really reminds me of the Matrix meme, like, yes, cliche Bitcoiner using the Matrix meme. Most people aren't ready to unplug, but I think we're getting to a point now where people are starting to, at the very least, feel that there is something wrong. And that is the first step for them to continue down the path to unplugging. But what Luke was saying, exactly what I've been saying, this is exactly my worldview here. We are living in the biggest global Ponzi in the world, and that is because of the fiat system. If you understand how the traditional financial system works, or bond markets and derivatives, you realize, or not to get too conspiratorial here, Nico, but the whole idea of your social security numbers, we are all collateralized here. This is all a global Ponzi scheme, and it is the greatest wealth transfer we've ever seen since the creations of the central banks. Since 1913, since the creation of the Federal Reserve. And really, again, 1971, the divide from the haves and the have-nots is bigger than it's ever been. In the last, 5 years since 2020, we've seen something super similar where the mega rich and the mega rich corporations, they're making all the profits and everyone else is getting the crumbs. Like, this is why we always say fix the money.
It's the cantillionaire effect.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think even that word is too big. Multi-syllable words is too much for 45 IQ people like me.
I asked ChatGPT this question. I said, because I have to get on a 5-hour flight back to South Florida later today, and I asked ChatGPT this. I was like, why has commercial airlines gotten so bad? And please answer this question from Saifedean's perspective. And it literally just broke down how essentially fiat incentivizes all these companies to just cut costs, increase profit, and actually not do good by their customers. It was a really thorough kind of breakdown. Fiat's breaking everything, guys. I used to play video games a lot, not so much anymore. But one of the things that I've noticed is that the just game degradation has just gone down. The quality of things have just gone down in general.
Where's GTA 6? That's all I want to
know. So anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We're going to hit the news. We're going to be right back in just a second.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Casa makes self-custody easy and secure. As a Bitcoiner, I care about holding my own private keys, but multi-sig can sometimes get tricky. Casa nails it with a multi-key security. So even if one key gets lost or stolen, your Bitcoin stays safe. And you don't give up custody, meaning no one could access your Bitcoin but you. No seed phrase anxiety, no single point of failure. I've been telling my friends and family about Casa for years. Their UX and UI on their app is by far the best in the industry. Inheritance planning is built in, and they even offer Casa for Business if you're thinking about a Bitcoin treasury. Hit up casa.io today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium. Head over to casa.io. I want to give a shout out to our partner, CoinKite. If you take your Bitcoin security seriously, you'll need the best Bitcoin hardware wallet on the market to take self-custody. That's where Cold Card comes in. The Cold Card Q is the most advanced Bitcoin signing device ever made. It's got a full keyboard, larger screen, and NFC support, making air-gap signing easier than ever. It's built for power users who want the ultimate security without sacrificing usability. And if you're looking for a battle-tested, uncompromising cold storage, the Cold Card MK4 is your go-to with PSBT signing, an industrial-grade secure element, and USB-C. It's the perfect blend of security and convenience. Both devices are, of course, 100% Bitcoin only, open source, and built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Secure your Bitcoin the right way with the Cold Card Q and the MK4. Head over to coldcard.com today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the store.
All right, everybody, we are back. We're here in the beautiful Las Vegas. As you can see, you guys can see the strip behind us. It's not a green screen. Moving forward, Opti and I are going to be doing the show together in person in South Florida. It's going to be awesome. No more remote shows. We have some surprises stored for you guys. It's going to be absolutely crazy. We're flying back tonight, but the show must go on. You guys know we don't skip a beat. Regardless of conferences, we try to do it. We try to make the show every single time. And it's been incredibly brutal. But I do want to give this Ali Berber on Rumble said, Opti is actually a hidden genius, plays dumb. He guards it like a seed phrase. 100%.
Hey, Elaine, stop blowing my cover.
100%. Opti is actually a hidden genius, plays dumb, and he guards. It is 100% true. By the way, did you guys know that Opti is a 160 IQ philosopher?
This is not true. This is not true at all.
He says he's 80 IQ so that people leave him alone and don't message him on the Orange Pill app. Guys, you should all message Opti.
Stop. Get to the news story. Stop this.
All right, everybody. Let's get to the news story. No more delay. So let's talk about this. Oh, I don't know where it's. Oh, here it is. All right. So let's talk about it. By the way, smash the like button if you guys are enjoying the show. We're at 45 likes. Help us break 200 likes by the time the show ends. And let's get into the news story. I like this news story. Kind of resonated with me a little bit. It's an opinion piece. It's on cryptoslate.com. The headline is this still Satoshi's Bitcoin? Bitcoin conference keynotes dominated by politicians and corporations. It goes on to say, Vegas glitters differently when 30,000 badge-wearing Bitcoiners clog the marble concourses of the Venetian, screens flashing a frothy 105 to 106K tape for BTC, and every espresso line buzzing with hash rate small talk. 3-day festivals usually disperse into noise, yet this one distilled a single theme. The conversation has vaulted beyond legitimacy questions. Governments, regulators, and megacorps now jostle over integration, taxation, and monetization. Quote, Tether will be the biggest Bitcoin miner in the world, says the CEO of Tether, recounting $13 billion in profit and revealing more than 100,000 Bitcoin that we own as a company, before tossing off a maximalist haiku. Bitcoin is perfect, gold is imperfect. I don't know. That's a nice haiku. I like that. I should have said that to Peter Schiff, bro. What the hell? Bitcoin is perfect, gold is imperfect. I should have said that. Investors inhaled the news of a further $2 billion sunk into energy projects, sensing a stable coin juggernaut pivoting from liquidity plumbing to literal dig the ground infrastructure. It goes on to say, across the Isle of Nations flags, Pakistan's special assistant declared, today I announced that Pakistani government is setting up their own government-led Bitcoin strategic reserve. We will be holding these coins and we will never sell them. Like that, dude, that's effing wild. Pakistan's actually a really big country, by the way, guys. Has a lot of people. Pretty powerful too. I think they have nuclear weapons. I think them and India. Anyways. Union Jack's prop next with Nigel Farage said, we are the first political party in Britain that can accept donations in Bitcoin. And I think what's the name of his political party. It's not the
Nigel
Tories.
Farage.
It's not the Tories. It's not the Liberals.
I don't know.
I
Who cares
forget.
about
But
UK
anyways,
politics?
it's an alternative. We care about UK politics. But we care about everyone. Opti's being mean. Opti's just tired.
I'm tired.
Opti's just tired. Opti doesn't want to be in Vegas. The crowd roared, half for the policy, half for the spectacular of a Westminster veteran recruiting hodlers. Farage framed Westminster stagnation as an opening for a crypto-powered populist insurgency, promising a crypto powerhouse future. However, with only 5 MPs and a recent poll putting Farage at the bottom of the pile of voter-preferred prime ministers, it's the power of his rhetoric and waking up the major political parties to the true importance of Bitcoin in his speech that is most consequential here. It goes on to say, regulatory mood music softened in Tatum. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce conceded, quote, "We need to create a good environment for the good actors and a bad one for the bad actors," warning that enforcement by ambiguity chases innovators offshore, and later hammered this point, "We can't ignore it. Value will eventually be incorporated into traditional financial products." Quote, her dry jab at meme traders, quote, "If you want to speculate, go for it. Don't come complaining to the government." It goes on to say, builders match the policy tempo. Arc Labs CEO unveiled Arcade, describing it how it virtualizes Bitcoin's transaction layer. It goes on to say, even the organized chase headlines, firing up a Guinness World Records attempt for the most Bitcoin transactions in a single day on an on-chain carnival that pairs nicely with the conference's heavy policy-hungry mood. It goes on to say, as attendees walked out into the Nevada dusk, some may have noticed that the narrative arc now resembles urban planning more than rebellion. Zoning boards, tax codes, and energy grids are the new battlefields. This is a progress of a sort, though one suspects that Bitcoiners will miss the outlaw adrenaline once the paper sets in. It goes on to say, Michael Saylor delivered his keynote on the opening day of Bitcoin 2025. His quote, 21 Ways to Wealth speech was a highlight of the event's industry day. Saylor emphasized Bitcoin's role as a transformative financial asset and urged corporations to adopt it as a primary treasury reserve. He stated, take your fiat currency, trade it for Bitcoin, sell your bonds, sell your inferior real estate property, buy Bitcoin. And other high-profile moments, Vice President J.D. Vance laid out a strategic Bitcoin reserve as the next plank of America's resilience, declaring that financial sovereignty now outranks budget scaremongering in Washington's pecking order. And it just keeps going. Robinhood founder Vlad Tenek sketched out an AI-fueled future of single-person companies. Finally, White House crypto and AI czar David Sachs reminded attendees that presidential authorization already exists, adding it, quote, if either Treasury or Commerce can figure out how to fund it without adding to debt, then they're allowed to create these programs, essentially referring to President Trump, his administration's plan to acquire more Bitcoin in budget neutral ways. We've heard Bo Hines talk about this as well. And, but I will say this.
Hey, wait, read that last paragraph.
Oh, we just got,
Yeah, we'll hit that. Read that last paragraph.
Holy shit, Jeebus. Jan, thank you so much for the $100. Really appreciate it. Right. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. James Tessess says, are you in Treasure Island?
No, but it's behind us.
No. Is it behind us? Yeah, it is behind us. But no, we're not going to tell you where hotel we're in, bro. Come on now, guys.
We pretty much just doxed ourselves.
Nah, they could figure it out. So
wait, read this last paragraph. This is the kicker.
Okay. Is Bitcoin still cypherpunk? I can't shake the lingering concern that the keynotes focused almost entirely on Bitcoin propaganda and political posturing rather than protocol development, security, and decentralization. I'm all for helping to educate the world on the importance of Bitcoinization, but I'm wondering how the Bitcoin conference headliners are doing that. Indeed, the headline talks energize the Bitcoin faithful in America, but I worry we're straying further and further from the cypherpunk's ethos of Bitcoin's origins. Populist politicians with minor government roles continue using Bitcoin to garner votes, while corporations celebrate their Bitcoin stacks. Is this still Satoshi's Bitcoin? I think so, but we must continue to remind ourselves why we love Bitcoin and whether we truly advancing the next 1 billion users or simply patting ourselves on the back for how high the price is this week. Okay. Great, kind of great great kind of like criticism of the conference. I'll say this, guys. I think it was a fantastic conference because there's multiple stages. The Genesis stage had amazing talks. I had one called Digital 1776 with Eric Cason, CJ, and our boy G Money. There was one with American Hodl, Eric Cason, and whatever, and they were dropping fire.
Shouts out Kason.
Like
He's hilarious.
Cason was dropping hot fire. So that cypherpunk ethos is definitely still there. Luke went pretty wild on that main stage, like what he was just saying just now.
Ross literally spoke.
Ross spoke, so it's still there. Like that rebellion is still inherently there. Now, I understand the criticism where it's like, look, there's a vice president, there's publicly guys, that comes with the territory. Like, do you want hyper Bitcoinization? Like, this is the next step. Like, Bitcoin was inevitably going to become political. Like, it was inevitably going to enter into the political fray. It is the separation of money and state. Like, it's in the effing name, bros and gals. This was inevitable that this was going to happen. So yeah, I mean, like, come on now. So I get it though. It's a very well written article. Opti, what's your take before we get onto the culture and we'll wrap up today's show?
Yeah, like it's very easy to nitpick the main stage at the Bitcoin Magazine conference. Obviously, as we saw, I'm sure you guys saw the meme. Someone mashed together like this clip of the main stage, and they're like summing up the conversations on the main stage, and it was just like stablecoin. We're here for stablecoins.
I personally like. I'm a big fan of.
Well, let's mute him. Let's mute him.
I like Tether.
Let's meet him. No, I mean, and further, guys, go check out Safety Amos's speech on stablecoins.
He shat on Tether, didn't he?
No, not really. Like he kind of started, and it seemed like he was, and then he basically said like it's the Trojan horse.
What have I been saying?
You've been saying it. Just the way he said it. The way he said it finally clicked, Nico. You can't speak as well. Anyways. Before, because we do want to move on. We kind of got to get out of here pretty soon. So, I think this is like I think David Bailey kind of said it the best, and I've been kind of trolling for a while. A lot of Bitcoiners, they're having a hard time dealing with Bitcoin entering the mainstream, and I don't know if this is like a hipster type vibe, like I like this band, but now they're mainstream and they sold out, bro. Like they've changed, man. I like the old band, not the new band. Or whether it is some kind of deranged like loser mentality, like we just like to be the underdogs. And now that we are getting acceptance, people have a hard time accepting the fact that we are taking over the world. I don't think that Bitcoin has fundamentally changed. I just think the narrative around Bitcoin has changed in the sense that this is what people are interested in. This is what gets people interested in Bitcoin, and this is what's going to get them down the door. Again, I had so many conversations with people at the conference basically saying it took Michael Saylor to talk at his quarterly board meeting for me to understand what the hell Bitcoin was. He literally, I was talking to I believe his name was Michael, and forgive me if I'm mistaking this, but he is the CEO of Cooler, Kulr. And he's like, yeah, my kid was telling me about Bitcoin and meme coins, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I heard Michael Saylor talk about it, and he's like, actually, I need to smash by millions of dollars to protect my business. I just think this is how the message is getting through to a whole new audience. I've been saying this for a long time on the show. If Bitcoiners the current generation of Bitcoiners, the current influencers of Bitcoiners, were as good as we think we are about spreading the Bitcoin message, then everyone would already be a Bitcoiner. I think this is more a fault on us as people that talk about Bitcoin than it is about Bitcoin losing its ethos. You need to understand what drives people and what gets them incentivized and inspired and motivated to stack Bitcoin. And for better or worse, the message that we've been saying for a long time has only been able to get us into it. It's got to evolve to get the next batch of people. But the point does remain the same. We can't lose the ethos. And this is why, you know, as much as we are part of the clickbait cabal, we're clickbait scammers. We constantly tell you guys to stack Bitcoin,
we're
take it into self custody.
I take that back. Why would you?
I'm just trolling.
Scammers?
I'm just trolling because that's what they call us.
I mean, we're not clickbait.
We're scamming
scammers.
you into profits.
No, we're not scamming anyone.
Nico,
what are you talking
dude,
about?
Nico doesn't understand.
No.
Nico doesn't understand
I
sarcasm.
reject the framing.
Nico doesn't understand sarcasm.
No.
He's literally an autist. He doesn't understand sarcasm. All right, let's get into it. Hit the transition.
I am, to be fair, I am a little bit on the spectrum.
A little bit.
I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, ask me 10 questions, you know, and yeah. So I am a little bit on the spectrum, but I'm proud of it. It's fine. Anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We're going to hit the culture. We'll be right back in just a second.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledin has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally not only have an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledin is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to hodl while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you today. Simply Bitcoin viewers get 0.25% off their first loan by using the link in the video/podcast description. What are you waiting for? Head over to ledin.io today.
All right, everybody, we are back. We're going to do a quick 5 to 10 minute debrief, everything conference. Let's break it down. So we flew in on Monday, and Sunday night. We had a pretty dope Airbnb. I really liked it. But boy, is Nevada hot and
dry. And
we set up the show on the Airbnb. That was a lot of fun the first day. Then the second day was crazy, man. It was so crazy. 5 a.m. till 11 p.m. It was nuts. It was wild. It was crazy. I don't think that was I don't know how many hour day that was.
We literally put in like 12 to 14 hour days.
Yeah. So I started, woke up at 5 a.m., prepping the show, getting everything ready. Had to be at the Bitcoin conference at 8:15. I started off the stream with, I believe I was with, it was with Frank, Pete Russo, and Marty Bent. We started off the stream. I did that. I had to get off the stage a little bit early because I had a call at 8:55. Had the call. Then me and Opti did the first show from the Rumble booth. That was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, shouts out the Rumble team. They're goated.
Yeah, they really took care of us. I really appreciate that. And then yeah, second day was pretty madness as well. I had a panel earlier on the day with G Money. That was a lot of fun. Digital 1776. Eric Cason went off. It was and just interviews back to back, like eight interviews in a row every single day. But the highlight was that I got to interview Scottie Pippen, man. That was crazy. Did not expect that. 6-time NBA champion. I actually have the picture. I could pull
Shouts
it up.
out Wine for making it happen.
Yeah. Was it Wine?
Yeah,
I think it was
Wine literally. You guys want to hear a funny story? So we're in the press lounge. Scottie Pippen walks in, and I wasn't there, but this is what I'm hearing. And Wine just like he walks up, our whole team's there, and Wine just bluntly looks over to him. I don't know if he said anything more or this is all he said, and he just literally looks up, and he's like, "Oh, why haven't you been on our show, bro?" And he's like, all right, let's do it right now. Jumped on. It was super cool. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I should have asked him for price predictions. Be like Scottie Pippen.
I asked him about his dreams, guys.
Dude, that was crazy. That was a highlight for me. And then check this out. I interviewed Peter Schiff. Now Peter Schiff actually had a really good point. Now I think he's going to be proven wrong long term, but he actually had a really good point. And I think we still have a ways to go. So what is that point that he made? So Peter Schiff actually correctly pointed out that Bitcoin has not made all-time highs if you price it in gold. So essentially, we've kind of been going sideways since, for a minute now, right? Yeah, I mean, he was right. He was right about his thing, right? If you price it in gold, Bitcoin is essentially right back where it was in 2021. So yeah, I mean, I still think we still got a ways to go during this bull market, and I had to concede on that point because Peter was right. Now he talks about how a Ponzi scheme needs more and more buyers, and he was trying to equate Bitcoin to a Ponzi, and I pushed him back on that. He was like, "You should diversify," and I kind of laughed. I did agree.
Also, flex on a 20K bracelet on you.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting too. Like he kind of made an argument where it's like, you see, I could wear this 20K bracelet in my hand, and I could just take it with me. And I'm like, all right, dude, try crossing a border from a country that's falling apart, and let me know if they let you keep that 20K bracelet, bro. I could literally memorize 12 words in my head, and I could take my money with you. That's super empowering. So that argument fell flat. But I did agree with him. I said, dude, I like physical gold, just not as much as Bitcoin. Like I like Bitcoin way better, right? But like physical gold is dope. Like to hold it in your hands and stuff. Like, would I put a large percentage of my net worth in it? No. But it's cool. Like it's kind of like doomsday stuff,
Dude, you're just Hispanic.
So like, gold bars, like, those little tiny ones, like whatever, like I like them. They're pretty cool. Now, is it as good as Bitcoin? No. Or would I have a lot of money in them? No. But I do like them. I just think that gold was like, it tried to serve what the function that Bitcoin is serving now. And there's a lot of people committed to the whole gold train, but they just, I get them, right? Because all of Peter Schiff's arguments have been correct. The only part where he's faltered is like Bitcoin not being better than gold. But I don't blame him. Like decades of like being right and then doubling down on like gold being the solution, this and this and that. And then it takes humility to be like, you know what? I was right about my theories, but Bitcoin is better. Right? Like it takes a lot of humility to say that, to kind of step away. So that was an interesting conversation. We're going to be posting all these interviews over the next couple of weeks. They're awesome. But again, to me, the highlight was Scottie Pippen. What was your highlight, Opti? And then we'll wrap up today's show.
Well, I mean, my highlight wasn't really about the speakers or even the interviews. It was really just seeing all my friends. And, you know, I saw a lot of people that I haven't seen in years, literally probably since last year at the Bitcoin conference 2024. And this is why I like coming to them. They are like family reunions. You can see a lot of people, you know, keep in contact with friends, and it's a good time. It's basically just an excuse to come hang out with friends at this point. So that's my personal highlight. But the one, you know, more on the professional side, the one thing that I absolutely loved was I did get to do an update with CJ Constantinos, and we absolutely had a blast. If you guys have seen the old interviews we've done, I think we've done 3 already posted. He has a way of explaining things, and his talk, or rather our interview, is literally the last thing we did on the Bitcoin conference floor. And the clip of Safety and Amos talking about stable coins, I think that really made it click to me. And I know there was a lot of pushback on Twitter where everyone's like, this is all they talked about on the main stage. And it really, I think, is going, you know, maybe Nico was right here. I'll have to concede here a little bit, because Nico has been saying this, but he's usually been saying it in a different way. I think what Safety said and what CJ said, and you guys will get this interview later, they absolutely are nailing it. Or I don't know if I was just receptive to the idea here, but I think stable coins aren't as bad as we think they are. I think it's really, I know, Nico, I know. I think it's really the Trojan horse here that gets Bitcoin through the door.
Nico Gate. Dude.
I was misinformed. I wasn't looking at it correctly.
Nico Gate.
There's no such thing as Nico Gate. No such thing.
Bitcoin is stable coins are the Trojan horse. What did I
wait. All right. This is true. You usually say it different though.
Nico Gate. Bro.
You
censored me. You made fun of me.
I censored you. No, I didn't censor you. I bullied you. There's a difference. But yes, Nico,
in a friendly way.
In a friendly, yeah, a full. This is friendly. I think
in a joking way.
Dude, we don't have to clarify. I think they get it. I think what we're seeing right now, and the way that CJ said it to me, is basically he was having this conversation with someone very high up, obviously influential, really rich. They're in the know, and they were talking about Bitcoin and stable coins, and CJ explained to him what he sees around stable coins. And he basically said, like, I don't think these politicians or, you know, these regulators are smart enough to understand what they're actually doing. And by them inviting stable coins into DC and the regulation, they're really bringing on their own demise. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't about, you know, dollar dominance and getting the you know, the global south onto you know, better payment system. This is about, you know, the milkshake theory, and Bitcoin getting through the door under the guise of stable coins is literally going to be the thing that blows up the fiat system. The very thing they think is going to be the solution is the thing that literally gets Bitcoin to just go everywhere, because they can't save the fiat system. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You know, I was a little negative in regard to this. Okay, hashtag Nico Gate. Hashtag Nico Gate.
Guys, we're at 196 likes on YouTube. Help. Exactly. See, bro,
poor Nico.
They're giving me sympathy now. How does it feel, Opti?
Dude, so anyway, troll Nico more.
Smash the like button, guys. We're almost at 200 likes on YouTube, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We got to get on a flight. We got to go back to South Florida. And really exciting times ahead for Simply Bitcoin. And again, we wouldn't be here without all of you guys. So we appreciate y'all.
And the Rumble team. Shouts out the Rumble
team and YouTube. Yes. And
love YouTube. Oh, guys, also
so shout out to YouTube.
Wait. I want to tell everyone.
Podcast platforms.
Guys, so if you're watching this and you are wondering why we have 3 days that we missed, is because we weren't streaming on YouTube, but there are the shows, and you guys can find those We really didn't do a good job of communicating that message to you guys. So we did not do the content. That's not how you should say it. It's just on another platform, and you guys go check that out. Follow or go find it on our Twitter. But we did the shows, guys, and they were really fun. So I apologize. We apologize for not really informing you guys. We really made like a last minute decision.
To be fair, like we said on the Monday show, I said if we could figure it out.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, we'll be back on Monday. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Smash the like button. And we wouldn't be here without you, and we wouldn't be here without all our partners. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. And we hope to continue to bring value to you guys. Anyways, love you all. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Go outside, touch some grass or some sand or some ocean, and eat some steak. Hang out with your family. Peace and love, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Take care, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.